Hi, Mr. Shelby. I just want to say thanks again for allowing me to redo this presentation. All right, so my illusion is the story of Narcissus and Echo. And the character Echo is an Oread nymph from Mount Cithaeron who often helps Zeus when he comes down to Earth because he has many different affairs. And she talks to Hera, distracting her so that she never has enough time to go see Zeus. And when Hera finds out about this, she gets very angry and then decides to curse Echo. And this curse means that Echo cannot say her own words. She can only repeat the words that have already been said to her. Like, for example, if you were to say, like, hello, she would only be able to say hello. She couldn't say, like, hello, how are you? Narcissus is the son of Potamoi, Cephasus, and the Oceanian Liriope. And in other stories, he's the son of Endymion and Selene. He was born in Thespiae, Boeotia, and he's a deer hunter. When he was young, a prophet named Tiresias made a prophecy stating that he would live a long life as long as he did not know himself. This comes back in later. The story begins with Echo after her curse aimlessly wandering through the woods. She sees Narcissus hunting and she immediately falls in love. But because of the curse, she cannot call out to him. And this causes her a lot of trouble and dismay because she's in love with him and she can't call out, so she follows him. And after a while, he realizes with his quick senses that there's someone following him, and he quickly turns around, calling out like, "Who's following him?" And she doesn't know what to do because she can't say anything. She can only repeat back what he has said to him. This just causes him to become even more confused, and she runs out of the bushes and throws herself upon him. And he doesn't know what to do either because he's very confused and she's only repeating his words. And he runs off and he gets tired and he stops at a pond. And when he looks into the pond, he sees himself and he falls in love with himself. And when he leans down to embrace himself, the reflection fades because it's a pond and he's disrupting the water. And he becomes very saddened by this. He doesn't understand why he cannot be with this person. After a little bit, he realizes that it's his reflection. This causes him a lot of grief and dismay because he has been one he is one that is known to reject many before, but now he's been rejected himself and he cannot handle it. He's always the one being rejected. He's never been rejected. And he stays there to the rest of his life. Every single day he calls out in grief. He wants to be with himself, but he cannot. And this goes back to Tiresias' prophecy stating that he'll live a long life as long as he does not know himself. But he has discovered himself, seeing his reflection, and he stays there until the end of his life, where he either passes away from grief or falls on his sword. It's not very clear because there are many different stories. The nymphs, all the friends of Echo, they all like many of the nymphs go out and they look for his body, but they cannot find his body. They can only find a flower with white petals and a yellow center. This is now known as the Narcissus flower. When Echo soon learns of his passing, she is overcome with grief. She also goes out to look for his body, but she again cannot find it. And then she also passes away from grief, and then she fades away slowly until only her voice is left behind, which is an echo, just the repeats of every voice. Some ways to identify illusion are, I guess, the narcissus flower, loving self, which goes with narcissism, which comes from the name Narcissus. A curse, such as what was put on the echo. A pawn, where I guess there's a realization, and then reflection, where you see yourself, or like maybe a mirror, and then rejection, which is very common throughout the whole story. Some themes of the illusion is that narcissism doesn't end well because you get so caught up in yourself that you exclude everybody else and you're so full of yourself you don't care for yourself, and it ends up leading to your downfall, and in the end it makes you very sad because you're only left alone. Rejection and fear of rejection are only negative because once you get rejected you believe that you aren't good enough and you don't know what to do, and it's very negative as for Echo and for Narcissus. And loving yourself is okay, just not too much because you're allowed to love yourself. You're allowed to be happy. But if you become so obsessed with yourself, like narcissists, you will not necessarily pass away, but you'll become alone and excluded from everybody. Some connections to the real world are the movie Devil Wears Prada. The main character, Andrea Andy Sachs, becomes the assistant of a big time designer, Miranda Priestley. Miranda Priestley is a very big position, and many want to be her assistant, much like how many want to be with narcissists. And Andy becomes so obsessed with her job that she devotes everything to it. But her boyfriend isn't happy. She sacrifices her boyfriend and her life for this job. She becomes so obsessed with it that it in turn becomes her. She changes her style. She changes the way she talks. She changes everything about herself just to impress Miranda. One of the people that she's working with, Emily, is also one of these assistants. And Emily is very set on going to this big fashion show in Paris. But, and she doesn't believe that she'll be able to make it. So she puts herself on this really bad keto diet, which caused her to lose a lot of weight. And she ends up getting into an accident. It's very bad. And Andy ends up getting the position over Emily. And this causes Emily a lot of dismay. She's not very happy. She's really sad. While Andy steps in and takes his position. And Andy and her boyfriend break up because she has to go to this fashion show in Paris, but her boyfriend's not very happy with her. And she steps over Emily to get this new job, which happens later because Miranda steps over her other coworkers because there's a plot against her. And she steps over them to secure her job, not really caring for them. In Miranda's office, there's a mirror, which can apply a lot because of all the narcissism with Andy and both Miranda. It implies, I guess, reflection and looking over yourself. And in the fashion industry, it's mainly just looking at yourself. It's very full of yourself, and there's a lot of only caring about yourself throughout the whole film. And here am I more excited. Thanks again.